Hey guys, it's Fightflow. In boxing's heavyweight history, there have been plenty of impressive champions, but there's no one quite like Vladimir Klitschko. This guy embodies almost every trait you'd want to see in a boxer. He's smart, powerful, has solid defense, and he is built like a brick wall. In the ring, he's like an AI-driven machine. He rarely rushes, never makes careless mistakes. He's precise, focused, and surgical in his approach. That's what led to so many clinical knockouts. Not the result of wild brawling, more like a silent killer, calculating, collecting data, and striking exactly when the moment is right. That's how you describe this man's performances. Cold-blooded and ruthless, just business. So let's take a look at some of them. Get ready for some fatalities and brutalities. Let's go.
Roter linker Haken und da kommt der Treffer noch voll durch, der linke Haken wird zählen. Da braucht Genaro Rodriguez nicht mehr zu zählen.
Let's start with Vladimir Klitschko's fight against John-Mark Mormek. Right from the beginning, Mormek's corner is giving Klitschko a brutal stare down. Hell, even the commissioner is catching the vibe and locking eyes with Klitschko like he's about to face a monster himself. But Klitschko stands there like a Caesar surrounded by his military advisors, ready to lay a beating on the invading barbarians. Both men are physically gifted, with Klitschko clearly the taller and bigger of the two. They've both got serious muscle mass, like they're about to square off in a bodybuilding competition. But this isn't that, this is a body destruction contest. The fight starts and Klitschko immediately goes into tactical mode. He's shutting down Mormek's attempts to come inside. As the shorter man, Mormek tries to close the distance, but Klitschko controls him with his long reach, clinching and leaning on him whenever he gets close. The first round is a slow, calculated, feeling out process. Klitschko doesn't take any risks. He's downloading data, analyzing opponent, preparing to open up in the next rounds.
Klitschko bounding forward, ominously there. Now he's into his rhythm here, Klitschko. Mormek hasn't really landed a punch of his own just yet.
Round 2 is a completely different story. Klitschko has figured Mormek out. He realizes, alright, this guy isn't that much of a threat. And then boom, he starts unloading damaging 1-2 combos. One of them lands hard, and Mormek hits the canvas for the first knockdown.
Big chance for Mormek, caught with the right, and he's gone down!
Klitschko charges in after Mormek gets back up, but Mormek has recovered enough to survive the round.
Klitschko will sense the finish is nearly there. Straight right from Klitschko, that hurts Mormek, then a left hand.
Now Klitschko is in the rhythm, landing clean combinations. Most of the shots are blocked, but still they're doing damage. Round 2 is all Klitschko.
That was the right hand that put him down. That will be the shot all night long, of course.
In round 3, Mormek goes full defense mode. He's felt the power and wants no part of another clean shot. He's a sitting duck, an easy target for Klitschko, who starts working him like a scene out of a boxing movie, a human punching bag.
He's vulnerable to that left to open it up, and the right hand, then a left hook from Klitschko. Of course, Klitschko knows as long as Mormek's in there that he's still in. Left jab into Mormek's face.
Mormek is frustrated. At range, he can't touch Klitschko. When he comes in, Klitschko ties him up and outmuscles him so badly, the referee has to keep breaking them up. By the end of the third, the ref even gives Klitschko a warning, like a teacher telling a big kid to stop roughing up the smaller ones on the playground. Then comes round 4, and Klitschko has made all his reads. He's ready to end it. Mormek stays shelled up, but Klitschko finds the crack in the armor. He unloads a brutal 1-2 followed up by a hook.
Oh, there's a right from Klitschko and Mormek's down! Left to the head as he was falling!
And the referee steps in to stop it. This one ends with a clinical knockout victory for Vladimir Klitschko.
A routine day's work for Vladimir Klitschko. There was the right, then he caught it with the left on the way down, and Mormek was never going to get up.
Now let's move on to Vladimir Klitschko's fight with Tony Thompson. There aren't many fighters who can match Klitschko in height and reach, but Tony Thompson is definitely one of the few who can. From round 1, it's a battle of distance and range. Neither fighter feels the need to get inside. Both are used to controlling the fight from the outside, and are completely comfortable operating at range. Klitschko, though, is slightly more aggressive early on, taking control of the center of the ring. The first round is a cautious, tactical feeling out process. Nothing dramatic, just two high-level technicians collecting data. Round 2 begins, and it's clear that Klitschko isn't having the easiest time figuring out an opponent just as long as him. Still, he presses forward with his usual calculated approach.
Schneller als beim ersten Mal. Wir müssen dich besser verteidigen, da kam die rechte.
By the second half of the round, he starts landing shots.
Das höher also ist dann der Anweisung seines Trainers.
Then the most interesting moment. Right at the end of the round, Klitschko scores the first knockdown with a sharp shot just before the bell. Huge momentum swing.
Vergangenen Kämpfe manchmal gezeigt hat gegen Gegner, die gefährlich waren. Guter Treffer, zählte an Sam Williams, jawohl.
Round 3, and Tony Thompson looks like he's out of his element. In the first half of the round, Klitschko takes total control. He's not landing a huge volume, but he's doing more than Thompson, who has barely connected with anything meaningful up to this point.
Bring your body with you. That's it.
However, the second half of the round sees Thompson come alive a bit. He lands a few clean shots and might have even stolen the round.
Das ist die
In round 4, Klitschko flips the switch. He starts damaging Thompson with sharp combinations, and things are beginning to look more serious.
Unentschieden geben, möglicherweise ja. Aber dennoch liegt dann Tony Thompson hier weit hinten und diese Treffer.
Thompson tries to respond near the end of the round, headhunting aggressively, but Klitschko sees it all coming, blocks every attempt with precision, and tags him with a perfect counter shot to cap the round.
Aber auch gute Aktionen von Thompson.
Then comes round 5, and it's something special. Klitschko walks out like a predator stalking his prey. He barely throws anything in the early moments of the round. He's watching, waiting, calculating. He throws almost nothing. Then, near the end of the round, he strikes. A brutal right hand hidden behind the jab crashes through and drops Thompson hard.
Von einem guten Treffer. Und hier die rechte voll ans Kinn, Volltreffer.
Tony beats the count. He's in full survival mode now, clinching Klitschko like his life depends on it, holding on the way a mother hugs her son before sending him off to war. Anything to avoid eating another bomb of a right hand. Somehow Tony survives the 5th, but now he's frustrated. He's thinking, what the hell is going on? I'm doing everything by the textbook, and this guy is still finding openings, still computing every move I make. And Klitschko proves that point in round 6. He comes out, reads Thompson like a blueprint, and unleashes a powerful combination that drops him again.
Abruf, dann geht er wieder weg. Hier steht er wieder. Und nochmal kommt die rechte und die linke. Und wenn er dann zumindest zurückschlagen würde, dann könnte man ja vielleicht noch eine Taktik attestieren. Aber da liegt er wieder wie im...
And this time it's over. The referee has seen enough. He looks into Tony's eyes and sees a man who's just been mauled by a cold, calculating machine. Dazed, defeated, but grateful it's over. That was a masterful performance by Vladimir Klitschko. Clinical, intelligent and ruthless. A complete dismantling.
Darauf gewartet hat, dass die rechte nochmal einschlägt. Hier, die rechte, dann der linke Haken und irgendwie ein Gewühle. Und dann noch ein Schlag auf die... Kommt, dass er umfallen kann. Der hat vorher schon gemerkt, das wird nichts mehr. Hier, linker Haken, dann nochmal aus der Szene.
Now let's take a look at the exciting fight between Vladimir Klitschko and Ruslan Chagaev. At first glance, Ruslan doesn't look like your typical athletic professional boxer, but don't be deceived by his appearance. By the time of this fight with Klitschko, Chagaev had 26 professional bouts under his belt, winning 25 of them, with 17 victories coming by a knockout. Pretty impressive. The fight starts off aggressively. Neither fighter wants to give up control of the center of the ring. Klitschko gets to work immediately, pumping that jab and landing it early. Chagaev tries to cut off the distance between them, staying active and pressing forward. Hats off to Chagaev. From the very first round, he's going hard. He's not afraid to take punches, but Klitschko takes full advantage of that. Even in round 1, he's already landing clean, solid shots. Chagaev is bobbing and weaving, trying to get his head movement going, but Klitschko's jab keeps him at bay. By the end of the round, that jab isn't just maintaining distance. It's snapping Chagaev's head back and sending shockwaves through his face every time it lands. Round 2, and again, Klitschko comes out with that short, lightning fast jab. However, Chagaev starts to find his rhythm. His jab improves, helping him manage the distance better and even begin to pose a bit of a threat. But then, in the 3rd minute of the round, Klitschko does what he does best. He lands a brutal 1-2 combo that puts Chagaev flat on his backside.
Kiedy pytaliśmy w kwietniu Witalija na temat największych atutów Władimira, mówił właśnie o tej jego elastyczności, o tej zwinności. Fantastycznie teraz trafia Władimir Klitschko. No i...
Still, Chagayev is tough. His face says, "Alright, I got to get that one back." He gets up and immediately goes back to battle. You can almost see it on Klitschko's face, like, holy shit, this guy's for real. Still, it's a perfect round for Vladimir.
Jak do tej pory.
Piękny ten prawy wszedł w tej sytuacji i rzeczywiście on usadził właśnie Rusłana Chagayewa. Fantastyczne uderzenie Władimira Klitschki, które przyniosło knockdown i przyniosło...
Round 3, Chagayev comes forward confidently, as if that knockdown never happened. But Klitschko is surgical with his jabs and 1-2 combinations.
Zawodnika urodzonego w Uzbekistanie, mieszkającego w Hamburgu. Władimir Klitschko ciągle czujny na moment, nie zmienia sposobu boksowania, cały czas ta lewa gdzieś tam ćka twardzielem i nawet nie to uderzenie.
This round is all Klitschko. He puts on a textbook performance, showing exactly how a taller fighter should work against a shorter opponent. Chagayev can't land anything meaningful, while Klitschko stays out of danger.
Choć prowadził w niej na punkty i...
Round 4 and Chagayev seems to improve his head movement, but what's the point if he's not landing any shots of his own? Klitschko, on the other hand, keeps finding openings and continues to crack that watermelon.
Wstrząsnął głową zawodnika z Uzbekistanu, ale pozy natomiast w tej chwili...
Another clear round for Klitschko.
Witalij będzie walczył na początku.
Round 5 and now Vladimir starts landing harder, cleaner shots. One of those heavy 1-2s almost sent Chagayev's head flying into the crowd.
Tego, że Władimir Klitschko uzyskał w tej chwili już bardzo wyraźną przewagę punktową.
From this point on, Klitschko begins building up pressure and volume, dominating round 6 and 7.
Władimira Klitschki, a ten w odpowiedzi także narada.
Then come rounds 8 and 9. This is where the real beatdown begins. Klitschko is in full control now. Ruslan Chagayev shows incredible durability, but at the end of the day, he's still human, and the damage he's taking in these rounds is severe. By the end of the round 9, Klitschko is teeing off on him. Chagayev's head is snapping back repeatedly, bouncing around like one of those nodding dog toys on a car dashboard.
Szef sztabu medycznego.
After that brutal 9th round, Chagayev's corner decides they've seen enough. They're signaling to the referee that it's over. The ref steps in and ends the fight. Honestly, it was a good stoppage. Chagayev might be a solid, gritty fighter, but at this level of boxing, size and skill both matter, and Vladimir Klitschko demonstrated that in full tonight. Now let's move on to Klitschko's fight with Alex Liepai. The fight starts and both men begin throwing leather right away. Alex comes out aggressive, forcing Klitschko to work at a much faster pace than usual. Midway through the round, Vladimir scores a knockdown.
And then moving his feet to try to close that gap. Looked like he got caught on top of the head there.
Alex protests immediately, claiming he just slipped. He's shaking his head in disbelief, like a kid who just found out Santa Claus isn't real. The fight continues and Klitschko starts landing some damaging shots.
Believe Liepai. He doesn't look hurt. But if he eats any more of those right hands, that might change.
It's becoming clear that Alex has bitten off more than he can chew. We're only in the first round and Vlad is already doing visible damage.
Here's a look back at that jab that put down Liepai.
Round 2 and Klitschko keeps cracking Liepai. He looks like he's in sparring session, calm, focused and methodical. He's picking Alex apart like a seasoned pro schooling a rookie, showing that there are levels to this game.
Where Klitschko will just float that jab out, the right hand.
And Liepai has seen a couple of those blinded.
No time to prepare yourself, and the right hand puts you to sleep.
Another clear round for Vladimir. In round 3, Klitschko's jab is constantly in Alex's face. Vlad begins to overwhelm him with volume, throwing his shots at around 60-70 power, enough to score, stay in control and conserve energy. He's giving Alex no opportunities to capitalize. By the end of the round, Klitschko starts teeing off and wobbles him badly.
Good for Klitschko. Impossible for Liepai, because Liepai cannot win on the outside.
End of 3.
Round 4 and Vladimir is stepping it up. His combinations are faster and harder. He's done the math, and it's clear he's ready to end this.
Klitschko, the only one he's missing is that WBC belt that his brother vacated.
Most of the fights for
right
Liepai.
Liepai looks completely helpless. Physically and skill-wise, Vlad is in a different league.
Spends fighting guys that don't know how to get close.
That's right.
Joe Louis 25, Larry Holmes 20. Again, it's all about range. It's all about distance.
Through that bad neighborhood to get to the inside, he goes for it. Eats a huge right hand.
Then comes round 5, and Klitschko starts a beautiful destruction. His right hand is fully loaded, and he's ready to go all in. Midway through the round, Vlad sends Alex to the canvas.
Of a guy with the length and size and power that Klitschko has.
Liepai gets up and tries to recover, but it's already over for him. This Terminator named Vladimir has made his decision, and that decision is complete destruction by way of a devastating right hand.
Ability to get close to.
Second knockdown of the round. Liepai absolutely pummeled.
The second knockdown comes and the referee stops the fight. Another brutal finish from this machine of a man, Vladimir Klitschko.
The script makers, and here you see why. Stood right in front. That time it wasn't a jab setting it up, it was a left hook. Just to set up the right hand, the payoff punch, the money punch, right down the middle. If you were the script writer for Liepai, you'd want to get close.
Next up, Vladimir Klitschko against Eddie Chambers. The fight starts and right away you can see how much bigger Vladimir is than Eddie. I mean, this guy, Chambers, better have something special up his sleeve if he decided to take this matchup. Because usually fights with such a size disadvantage don't end well for the smaller guy. On his shorts it says Fast Eddie. It kind of feels like a movie. You know, the one where the big guy is the villain and the smaller guy is about to teach him a lesson. Eddie Murphy in the main role. Klitschko has early success. Once again, he's perfect with his distance control. Like many of Vladimir's opponents, Eddie just can't close the gap without getting hit by a jab or smothered in the clinch. But overall, this wasn't the most action-packed matchup. Chambers did a lot of moving, but he really struggled to put together any kind of meaningful offense. Now I get it, you're just a regular-sized human being stepping in against an absolute machine. I've got to give you some respect for that. But still, for a fight with such a massive stakes, Chambers looked weak. His punches didn't seem to do any damage to Klitschko at all. Honestly, these two shouldn't even have been in the same ring that night. And Klitschko proved it in the last round of this fight. You can run as long as you want, but sooner or later you're gonna get caught by one of those big heavy hands. And just look at this left hook from Klitschko. It barely clips Eddie's head, but it was still enough to send him straight to the Shadow Realm.
Weil auch hier nicht getroffen wird, weil die Deckung gut steht. Vladimir versucht. Musik landen. Genau. Da war die rechte. Und jetzt dranbleiben. Guter linker Haken. Und da kommt der Treffer noch voll durch. Der linke Haken nicht mehr zählen. Da braucht Genaro Rodriguez nicht mehr zu zählen.
The moral of the story, if you're so afraid of getting knocked out that you won't even engage, don't forget, boxing is still a two-man game. Nothing guarantees you won't get KO'd just because you played safe. Eddie's in agony, can't even stand up, and people around him don't know what to do, whether to call an ambulance or the police, because that knockout looked like a straight-up assault.
Bei sich, das ist die gute Nachricht, und da haben wir dann auch die Muße, hier mal auf den Niederschlag zu schauen. Der linke Haken, oben an die Schläfe. Eddie Chambers hier nochmal zu sehen, geht nach vorne, zack, guter Treffer, perfekt gemacht. Noch das Ende, was ihm die Herzen.
Now let's move on to Vladimir Klitschko's fight against Samuel Peter. Round 1. Samuel Peter comes out aggressively, launching himself at Klitschko. He's not intimidated by Vladimir's clinch game and storms in with confidence, even managing to land a solid shot from inside the clinch. There's not a lot of action overall in the first round. Klitschko, as usual, is methodical, studying patterns to exploit later. It's a close round.
He wants to send out a statement every time. Paymaster's back interested in the Klitschko brothers. They haven't been showing them.
Round 2, Klitschko begins to turn up the pressure. He's more aggressive now, and his punches are already slicing through Peter's defense like a knife through butter.
Lovely right hand again. Very educated and he's boxing well here. Decision, because Vladimir landed many more punches.
This round clearly goes to Klitschko. Rounds 3 and 4, Vladimir's now in his element. Peter tries to bob and weave to close the distance, but like many of Klitschko's past opponents, it doesn't work. Vladimir has secured the range and is firing off shots with the precision of a marksman on a mission.
Not getting his shots off as well.
He's been on the floor 11 times in his career.
Rounds 5 and 6, Peter starts clinching more and stalling the fight. His face shows visible damage, and his frustration is growing. By now he has no real answers for Klitschko, who continues to tee off with clean shots.
There's that solid. Some good punches. You hear Emmanuel Stewart, he senses that. Get away from him, get the punches off, bring them up.
The beatdown continues through the middle rounds all the way to the 10th. By this point, Peter is just trying to survive. He's exhausted, and the clinching isn't saving him anymore. Klitschko, with his superior physique, cardio and technique, finally overwhelms him. Samuel desperately tries to hold on, but Vladimir finds an opening and drops him.
Desperate, so painful.
Peter's corner, I think, a comedy stop it.
He's done with here. Samuel Peter, surely uppercut. Down he goes, and then Fate should have stepped in earlier there.
That was the end of it. Another clear and dominant victory for Vladimir Klitschko.
Every single penny he's been paid for this. So there it is, that's the finish.
Next up, Vladimir Klitschko versus boxing veteran Ray Mercer. The fight kicks off with both men showing heavy leather right from the start. Mercer, an old-school savage, stands his ground. He's not backing down, even when Klitschko lands clean shots. Ray just shrugs it off like, is that it? Bring it on, motherfucker. Well, Klitschko did bring it. In the first round, Vladimir starts landing some vicious shots.
Likeness for the Rocky films, and I still think they feel that.
And he'll want to put on a show here, and he's getting through with some big shots already.
Near the end of the round, he drops Mercer with a big one.
And this is now. Oh, and he's hurt by the left hand and floored in the very first round.
And he's laying out here, and he's not going to get up.
Ray survives the round, but it's obvious he's not happy with how things are going.
This is really impressive work, and I know Mercer's 41 and on the downside of his career.
Round 2 begins, and Klitschko starts pouring it on. By this point, Mercer is mostly on the defensive. That knockdown clearly rattled his confidence. He tries to mount some offense, but every time he does, Klitschko swarms him and shuts it down. Another dominant round for Vlad. This beatdown continues up until the 6th round. A young Klitschko was a different beast. No calculation, no feeling out process, just pure violence from the opening bell.
Larry just laid on the ropes and used the jab, feints, and disguises shots. That's a good shot.
Yeah, he was hurt by that.
And that will be Lennox's...
How to get into this. He's tried the jab, he's caught by a left hook again, has to cover up, tries to let his head clear, shakes his head once it is clear.
Then the fight comes to its logical end in the round 6. By now, Ray is in survival mode. Klitschko keeps teeing off on him.
But there comes a point. Another huge run. He's just teeing off on him now.
And finally, the referee decides he's seen enough. He rushes in like he's about to save a drowning child and stops the fight. Crazy thing, over the whole fight, Klitschko might have taken 4 or 5 clean shots, while landing nearly 200. Total domination.
I'm a little bit surprised at how much he's marked up himself, Klitschko. He took maybe 2 or 3 punches during the whole fight.
We saw one name heavyweight in Mike Tyson taken to the cleaners by Lennox Lewis the other week. We've seen another one here. I think really Mercer has got to call it a day after this because he was beaten up.
And let's wrap it up with Vladimir Klitschko's fight against Hasim Rahman. Round 1, a classic feeling out process from both fighters. What's interesting is that Rahman isn't trying to fight like the shorter man. He actually seems pretty comfortable trading at range with Vladimir. He doesn't commit to getting inside, maybe thinking he can outbox Klitschko from distance. Bad idea. Vladimir starts doing what he does best, pumping that jab and mixing in sharp 1-2 combinations.
You had a great one and didn't use it all that much.
I think it's a great punch. But you can disrupt your opponent's even superior jab with your own.
By the end of the round, he's already landing clean shots, and that jab is starting to bust Rahman up.
Vladimir throwing a straight right hand right through the guard of Rahman. And
rounds 2 and 3. Rahman's frustration starts to show. Klitschko is completely disrupting his rhythm. Every time Rahman tries to get something going, Vladimir shuts it down. Rahman begins clinching more, realizing the outside game isn't working and something has to change. At one point, he just backs into the ropes and covers up in shell. That's a green light for Klitschko, who goes to work without hesitation. Rahman's corner is yelling for him to get off the ropes, but Rahman seems to be trying something unorthodox. Maybe a little trick from the Muhammad Ali playbook. Bad move. Klitschko doesn't fall for it and continues his cold, calculated assault.
something with his back on the ropes.
Arena knows the right hand's coming. So show something different. Throw a left hook, throw an uppercut.
The beatdown becomes more systematic. By the middle of the fight, Rahman looks like a guy who's just hoping for a miracle. He's not in this anymore, he's surviving. Klitschko, as cold-blooded as ever, keeps landing clean, punishing shots. In round 6, he finally scores a knockdown.
10 or 15 seconds between rounds to recover, and recovery may no longer be an option.
That's the beginning of the end. Vladimir keeps piling on the pressure, and the ref gives Rahman a warning. You better start defending yourself, son, or I'm stopping this.
Look at the combination.
And it was a combination like, you know, Rockman put his head down, he was off balance.
Round 7, nothing changes. Klitschko comes out, still sharp, still relentless. He overwhelms Rahman with volume and precision.
Now Rahman wobbles again after another left-right combination. You heard referee Tony Weeks warning Rahman he won't be allowed to continue to take sustained punishment. And here it is. This is over, baby. This is done.
The referee has seen enough and steps in to stop the fight, probably saving Rahman a few brain cells in the process.
And protect Tyson Rahman by stopping the fight.
Well, Rockman's got these punches and he's thrown a lot of different punches, but I'm talking Vladimir. And, you know, the ref didn't want to see any more punishment because there was no way that Rockman could have won this fight.
That's about it, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the best fight show on YouTube. As always, all the best, God bless, and I'm out.